Welcome to Griggs Theatre. Tonight, we'll be having a reading of The Littlest Angel from Ronald.
Angels we have heard on high,
the
sweetly singing o'er the plains and the mountains in reply, echoing their joyous strains. Come to Bethlehem and see Him whose birth the angels sing. Come adore on bended knee Christ the Lord, the newborn King. Gloria in excelsis Deo. Gloria in excelsis Deo.
Attempted to hide this telltale evidence by snuffling at the most angelic sound, which so unnerved the good gatekeeper that he did something that he had never done before in all eternity. He blotted.
See him in a manger
From that moment on, the heavenly peace was
whom
never
the
quite the
choirs
same.
of
And the littlest angel soon
angels
became the
praise.
despair of all the heavenly host.
Lend
His
your voices,
shrill,
lend your
whistle,
aid,
shout resounded
while our hearts in love we raise. Gloria in excelsis Deo. Gloria in excelsis
The littlest angel was
Deo.
always arriving late and always knocking everyone's wings askew as he darted into his place. Now, these flaws might have been overlooked, but the general appearance of the littlest angel was even more disreputable than his deportment. Now, he's first whispered among the seraphim and the cherubim, and then it was said aloud among the angels and the archangels that he didn't even look like an angel. And it's true, he didn't. They were quite correct. His halo was always permanently tarnished where he held on to it with one hot, chubby little hand when he was running, and he was always running. And furthermore, even when he stood very still, it never behaved like a halo should. It would slip down over one eye, or over the other eye, or else just for meanness, it would roll away down some golden street just so he'd have to chase after it. Well, it must be reported here, reluctantly, but it must be reported, that his wings were neither useful nor ornamental. You see, all paradise held its breath when the littlest angel perched himself like an unhappy fledgling sparrow on the edge of a cloud and prepared to take off. He would teeter this way, then he would teeter that way, and after much hesitation and a few false starts, he would launch himself boldly after having held his freckled nose, counting up to 303, and he would fall head over heels. But owing to the regrettable fact that he never remembered to move his wings, he would fall with a kerplunk. It was also reported, and it was never denied, that whenever he was nervous, which was most of the time, he bit his wingtips. Well, everyone could easily understand why the littlest angel would soon or late have to be disciplined. Well, and so on an eternal day and an eternal month and the year eternal, he was directed to present his small self before the angel of the peace. The littlest angel combed his hair, dusted his wings, scrambled into an almost clean robe, and then with a heavy heart, he trudged his way to the place of judgment. Now he tried to postpone this dreaded ordeal by loitering along the streets of the guardian angel, pausing a few timeless moments to minutely peruse the long list of new arrivals. Although all heaven knew he couldn't read a word. And then he idled more than several immortal moments to carefully examine a display of aureate harps, although everyone in the celestial city knew that he couldn't tell a crochet from a semiquaver. But at length and at last, he slowly approached a doorway which was surmounted by a pair of golden scales. Those signified that heavenly justice was dispensed with him. And to the littlest angel's great surprise, he heard a merry voice singing. Well, the littlest angel removed his halo, breathed upon it heavily, and then polished it upon his robe. And that procedure added nothing to the garment's already untidy appearance. And then he tiptoed in. The singer, who was known as the understanding angel, looked down at this small culprit, and the littlest angel instantly tried to make himself invisible by the ingenious process of withdrawing his head into the collar of his robe, very much like a snapping turtle. And at that the singer laughed. And it was a jolly, heartwarming sound, and he said, "Oh, oh, so you're the one who's been making heaven so unheavenly. Well, come here, cherub, and tell me all about it." The littlest angel ventured a furtive look beneath the robe, first one eye, and then the other eye, and suddenly, almost before he knew it, he was perched on the lap of the understanding angel, and he was explaining how very difficult it was for a boy who suddenly finds himself transformed into an angel. and no matter what the archangel said, he'd only swung once, well, twice. Well, all right. He swung 3 times on the golden gates. But it was only for something to do. I mean, that was the whole trouble. There wasn't anything for a little angel to do. And he was very homesick. Oh, not that heaven wasn't beautiful, but the earth was beautiful too. Wasn't it made by God himself? Oh, there were trees to climb, brooks to fish, and caves to play at the pirate chief, and the swimming hole, and the sun, and the rain, and the dark, and the dawn, and the soft, thick brown dust, warm beneath his feet. The understanding angel smiled. And in his eyes was a long forgotten memory of another small boy long ago. And then he asked the littlest angel what would make him happy. And the littlest angel thought for a moment, and then he whispered in his ear, "There's a box. I left it under my bed back home. If only I could have that." And the understanding angel nodded his head. "You shall have it," he said, and the fleet-winged heavenly messenger was instantly dispatched to bring the box to paradise. And then, in all those timeless days that followed, everyone wondered at the great change in the littlest angel, for among all the cherubs in God's kingdom, he was the most happy. His conduct was above the slightest reproach. His appearance was all that the most fastidious could require. And on excursions to the Elysian fields, it could be said, and truly said, he flew like an angel. Well, then it came the time that Jesus, the Son of God, was to be born of Mary in Bethlehem in Judea. And as that glorious tidings spread throughout paradise, all the angels rejoiced, and their voices were lifted to herald the miracle of miracles, the birth of the Christ child. And the angels, the archangels, the seraphim, the cherubim, the gatekeeper, the wing maker, yeah, even the halo maker put aside their usual tasks to prepare their gifts for the blessed infant. All but the littlest angel. He sat himself down on the topmost step of the golden stairs, and he anxiously awaited inspiration. What could he give that would be most acceptable to the Son of God? Now, at one time, he dreamed of composing a lyric hymn of adoration, but the littlest angel was woefully wanting in musical talent. And then he grew terribly excited about writing a prayer that would live forever in the hearts of men, because it would be the first prayer ever heard by the Christ child. But the littlest angel was lamentably lacking in literate skill. What could a small angel give that would please the holy infant? Well, the time of the miracle was close at hand when the littlest angel at last decided on his gift. And then, on that day of days, he proudly brought it forth from its hiding place behind a cloud, and humbly, with downcast eyes, placed it before the throne of God. It was only a small, rough, unsightly box, but inside were all those wonderful things that even a child of God would treasure. A small, rough, unsightly box lying among all those other glorious gifts from all the angels in paradise. Gifts of such rare and radiant splendor and breathless beauty that heaven and all the universe were lighted by the mere reflection of their glory. And when the littlest angel saw this, he suddenly knew that his gift to God's child was irreverent. And he devoutly wished he might reclaim his shabby gift. It was ugly. It was worthless. If only he could hide it away from the sight of God before it was even noticed. But it was too late. Too late. The hand of God moved slowly over all those bright, shining gifts, and then paused, and then dropped, and then came to rest on the lowly gift of the littlest angel. And the littlest angel trembled as the box was opened. And there, before the eyes of God and all the heavenly host, was what he offered to the Christ child. And what was his gift to the blessed infant? Well, there was a butterfly with golden wings that was captured one bright summer day on the high hills above Jerusalem. And a sky blue egg from a bird's nest in the olive tree that stood to shade his mother's kitchen door. And 2 white stones found on a muddy riverbank where he and his friends had played like small brown beavers. And then at the bottom of the box, a limp, tooth-marked leather strap, once worn as a collar by his mongrel dog, who died as he had lived in absolute love and infinite devotion. The littlest angel wept hot, bitter tears. For now he knew that instead of honoring the Son of God, he had been most blasphemous. Why had he ever thought that this box was so wonderful? Why had he ever dreamed that such utterly useless things would be loved by the blessed infant? And so in frantic terror, he moved to run and hide from the divine wrath of the Heavenly Father, but he stumbled and he fell. And with a horrified wail and a clatter of halo, he rolled in a ball of consummate misery to the very foot of the heavenly throne. But there was an ominous and a dreadful silence in the celestial city, a silence complete and undisturbed, save for the heartbroken sobbing of the littlest angel. And then suddenly, the voice of God like divine music rose and swelled through paradise. And the voice of God spoke, saying, "Of all the gifts of all the angels, I find that this small box pleases me most. Its contents are of earth and of men, and my son is born to be king of both. And these are the things my son too will know and love and cherish, and then, regretful, will leave behind him when his task is done. I accept this gift in the name of the child Jesus, born of Mary this night in Bethlehem." There was a breathless pause, and then the rough, unsightly box of the littlest angel began to glow with a bright, unearthly light, and then the light became a lustrous flame, and the flame became a radiant brilliance that blinded the eyes of all the angels. And none but the littlest angel saw it rise from its place before the throne of God, and he, and only he, watched it arched in firmament to stand and shed its clear, white, beckoning light over a stable where a child was born. And there it shone that night of miracles, and its light was reflected down the centuries deep in the heart of all mankind. And yet, earthly eyes, blinded too by its splendor, could never know that the lowly gift of the littlest angel was what all men would call forever the shining star of Bethlehem. You were asleep.
And there's little angel right